Alright everyone, it's the final installment of my sequel trilogy. If you haven't seen my versions of episodes 7 and 8 yet, go do that, then come back here. We have resurgent Sith to vanquish and a galaxy to save. Let's do this. Star Wars Episode 9, The Unifying Force. We open on the Sagittarius star in the Delta Prime hiding from a Yuuzhan Vong capital ship behind a barren moon. Eventually, they fool the ship, and our heroes sneak past to the planet their investigation and Ben's guidance has led them to. Ben, now free of the Vong's control, elected to stay behind as a spy for the New Republic at the end of our previous chapter. The planet is none other than Dagobah, but it has changed considerably since Yoda's death. The planet has been almost completely terraformed by the Yuuzhan Vong, still a swamp of course. Unable to swiftly conquer the galaxy, they have apparently elected to settle in for a war of attrition, something the New Republic is not prepared for, and that will bleed the galaxy dry. Think World War I, but worse. Meanwhile, in a secret lair on Zanama II, Ben Skywalker resides, now the servant/assistant to the chief Vong bioengineer known as the Shaper. The Shaper expresses discontent at her people's and the God Emperor's hatred for all other life in the galaxy. She, however, must admit that she finds some of it intriguing. While maintaining his role as a spy secret, Ben nonetheless tries to nurture those feelings in her. Our other heroes, Jimu Pendragon, Jaina Skywalker, and Island Fett, land on Dagobah. The two Jedi enter the Cave of Darkness, the one from Episode 5, while Island stands guard. Inside, Jim and Jaina are confronted with doppelgangers of his dark self and the corrupted Ben, respectively. Nearly pushed to the edge, Jim accepts the darkness around him and embraces the Force as his dark self strikes him. Both it and Jaina's assailant vanish instantly. Jim insists they keep going, sensing something far more subtle than darkness, the thing they're searching for, even though Jaina thinks it's just a dead end, an eddy in the Force. They trudge onward, beyond where Luke or Yoda ever went, into the very center of the cave. Jaina helps Jimu force the spirit of the cave to manifest. The spirit is of the dark side, and in pain. It is the broken ghost of Darth Plagueis, the Emperor's old master, before Sidious killed him. He is trapped between life and death as a result of his experiments, tortured within the cave. Told of the events that have transpired since his death, he laughs, then screams in jealousy. How it was his apprentice who ended up overthrowing the Jedi and the Republic, only for it to last a couple decades, after which the Emperor clawed his way back towards life and power, using the very creation that he mocked during Plagueis' lifetime. Still, intrigued by his first sentient contact in over 50 years, and still angry over his apprentice's betrayal, Plagueis tells them what he knows. He recalls how he first created the seed that would become the mind of Zanama II by mixing the height of scientific theory with the most hidden depths of the Force. He recalls when he first met Palpatine, a young, brilliant, but insecure young man. Seemingly out of spite and boredom, he agrees to help Pendragon and Skywalker. Plagueis correctly assumes that Sidious has styled himself as a divine king, that his use of the Force is the primary source of the Yuuzhan Vong's power, amplified, stored, and supplemented by their biological aspects. Therefore, he suggests simply killing Sidious. Asked how, he mentions the Sword of Thoyor. Long ago, before Sith and Jedi, before darkness and light, even before the Old Republic, there was the Order, a group of monks based on the planet Tython who followed the Unifying Force, combining and transcending the light side and the dark side. The mythical Sword of Thoyor was a powerful blade that could be used to sever the connection of the Force of any being who was cut by it. Knowing they will need his guidance, Jaina reluctantly uses the Force to stabilize Darth Plagueis' spirit enough to allow him to accompany them. Meanwhile, outside the cave, Island Fett fights off a Vong patrol, before taking to her ship to confront a retaliatory force, including the massive beasts the Vong use in place of ground vehicles. She eventually sweeps back once her friends emerge from the cave, and they leave the planet. In space, they are chased by Nam Anor, favorite agent of Darth Sidious, who is furious over Fett's quote-unquote betrayal from the last movie, and head towards Tython. Nam Anor sends a projection of himself to a meeting of the Emperor's Council on Zanama II. Although they are the ones best prepared for a war of attrition, they are nonetheless worried about a decisive Republic campaign to end the war, and frustrated that the war is not going as promised. One of the ministers criticizes the Emperor for diverting so much time, manpower, and resources to his project on Zanama II. He scoffs about singularity hyperspace interactions, before Sidious kills him with a beam of pitch-black lightning. The other ministers, including the Shaper, fall in line. Nam Anor, ever the loyal subject, briefs the Emperor on his status and his order to pursue the heroes. Sidious returns to his throne room and says to himself, soon. Soon. Our heroes approach Tython. As they near the system, Fett shouts at them to cut their hyperdrive. Tython is almost as close as is possible to the galactic core, a supermassive black hole, and hyperspace that close to a black hole that size is dangerous, both to themselves and the surrounding area. Ben, still under cover, asks them what it's like, and Jaina answers that it feels like nothing. Not death, just emptiness, pure entropy. Plagueis quips that a person is much like the galaxy, full of points of light, but with utter darkness in their heart. Jim tells him to shut up, but Plagueis just smirks knowingly at him. In his throne room, Sidious senses an intruder. He throws a knife at where the intruder is, but it passes through him harmlessly. It is a ghost, the spirit of Anakin Skywalker. He greets his old master coldly, yet calmly. Sidious laughs, but it's forced. In reality, he is furious and more than a little frightened. Skywalker scolds the Emperor in the error of his ways, of the need to dominate. However, beneath all that political and literal power, there is only fear and insecurity. Sidious insults Anakin, and the ghost disappears. The Emperor mutters the word Vader to himself over and over. They land on Tython, near the Temple of the Order containing the sword. As they approach, Darth Plagueis tells Jimu that using the sword requires inner balance between light and dark, and that he will need to embrace some of the dark side to protect the galaxy. During the flight there, the other three have been talking, and Plagueis has been nothing but an annoying advocate of the dark side. The temple gate lets in Jimu and Island, but blocks Jaina and Plagueis. Jim and Island take out the temple's initial challenges. Jim must then use the light side of the Force to open an intricate gate. Meanwhile, the Yuuzhan Vong under Nam Anor attack the temple, and Jaina and Darth Plagueis fight them. Jim opens the door only to find a being shrouded in darkness waiting for him. The being attacks, and it takes all they have just to hold him at bay. Feeling the dark side embody the fighter, Jimu uses the dark side himself to destroy it, with Island there helping to keep him from veering too far one way or another. Jim finds the balance within him to take and wield the sword of Thoyor. Fett and Pendragon emerge and wipe out the rest of the attacking Vong. Jim discovers that it is possible to resist the sword's power, and Nam Anor retreats. After meditating, sending a message, as he puts it, Plagueis requests that Jimu practice using the sword on him to finally give him rest. He complies, and Plagueis finally truly dies with a genuine thank you. The Sagittarius Star and Delta Prime fly back to the Republic capital of Coruscant. R2-D2 and C-3PO greet them as they depart their ships and return for the first time in months. Chancellor Leia Organa Skywalker warmly greets them, but is nonetheless anxious for details of what they have found. Cut to a meeting with the Republic's top strategists, including Han Solo, Jedi Grandmaster Lupita Nyong'o, again, that's the actress's name, not the character, and Ben Skywalker, communicating from the Vong homeworld, as they devise an invasion of Zanama Sekhet itself. While the Jedi Grandmaster is conducting her battle meditation, Han Solo will lead the primary fleet, with Jaina and Island as his commanders, and Ben will create disruption on the ground. Then, Jimu will head in and assassinate the Emperor. On Zanama Sekhet, Ben begins planning his move. As he looks down over the streets of the capital, he sees several Vong being arrested for treason and heresy, something he didn't think was possible. The Yuuzhan Vong are capable of true independent thought. Meanwhile, the Emperor hears a voice, mocking him. It is the message left by Darth Plagueis, his old master, promising his reckoning is coming and that he will finally be brought low. The New Republic fleet warps to Zanama Sekhet, and the final battle begins. The invasion fleet is locked in combat with the defense armada, but Jimu and his strike team make it through. On the planet, Ben uses his control over Vong technology and the Force to free the prisoners he saw earlier, wielding his lightsaber for the first time since his capture in Episode 8, igniting a revolt in the capital city. He calls on the Vong to be more than what they were created to be more than a madman's slave. They take out whatever they can on the ground. The strike team fight their way through the palace temple to where Darth Sidious presides. Jimu enters. After exchanging a few words, they begin to fight, each bringing the full force of their powers to bear against the other. Amid the revolt, The Shaper finally realizes Ben's true colors when she sees him fighting, manipulating the biotech, and inspiring the Yuuzhan Vong to rebel. She confronts him, stating that, though blasphemous, he has taken her lessons on bioengineering to heart. He replies that all things are connected through the Force, even something with such unnatural origins as the Yuuzhan Vong. She decides to throw in her lot with them, and the revolt goes global. Then, the Emperor speaks to his forces to commence Operation Vitiate. Giant monoliths activate all over the planet. The Earth trembles as massive volcanoes erupt blue matter and energy, forming a maelstrom in the sky. There was never going to be a war of attrition. The goal was only to gather resources for this planetary hyperdrive, powered by a mix of Vong technology and the Force. Darth Sidious is going to launch the planet through hyperspace into the supermassive black hole in the galactic core, resulting in it consuming the entire galaxy. If he cannot rule known space, no one will. As his theme plays loudly, the Emperor tells Jim what he felt when Alderaan was destroyed, gleefully describing the millions of voices crying out in terror, suddenly silenced. He promised that this would be different. It would take years for the entire galaxy to die. Survivors would hopelessly flee further and further as the galaxy they knew and loved was obliterated piece by piece. The Emperor laughs, and Jimu lunges at him, tapping into his anger. Jedi Grandmaster Dianko deduces what is going on, and Ben and the Shaper have figured it out as well. Ben begs the fleet above for help. They need to shut down the hyperdrive, and he can't do it alone. Jaina, Island, and many other fighters and transports descend on the planet to save the galaxy or die trying. Amid the chaos, Ben races to one of the monoliths and attempts to communicate with Zanama Sekhet, urging it to stop before it finishes charging. Republic forces and revolting Vong help to delay the hyperdrive, ultimately buying Ben enough time. He makes contact, but is confronted by Nam Anor and his loyalist forces, with the rebelling Vong also joining them. Ben appeals to the living planet and the gathered Vong, saying that sentient beings are meant to be free, not to live forever under the tyrannical doctrines of another. When Anor says he is prepared to die for his god, Ben replies that that's the difference between them. Anor will sacrifice himself to kill others and spread misery, and Ben and his friends are willing to sacrifice themselves to protect others and end misery. Ben then hears two words from Zanama Sekhet, a verdict. Help me. Ben races to interface with the planet and help it deactivate the hyperdrive as complete pandemonium breaks out. Republic forces led by Jaina and Island arrive at the capital. Island eventually gets into a confrontation with Nam Anor, who has by that point in the battle killed several Jedi. They fight to the top of the monolith, where Island is badly hurt. She smashes her gauntlet so that they shoot only a stream of ions, and points them at Nam Anor. They do nothing at first, but he becomes so charged a bolt of hyperdrive lightning strikes, vaporizing him and allowing Ben to override Sidious's directives over Zanama Sekhet. The hyperdrive sequence is aborted, and the planet cuts Darth Sidious off as much as it can from his power. As Sidious loses a great deal of his strength, Jim finally achieves a state of perfect balance with the Force. He is angry, but angry because of the threats to what he loves and strives to protect. He is afraid, but only of the vague notion of not being good enough. He hates, but he acknowledges it, and does not let it consume him. By recognizing all his emotions and setting them all in their place amidst the Force, Jimu is able to overpower Sidious and run him through with the Sword of Thoyor after a furious battle. Before removing the blade, Jimu asks Darth Sidious why he did all the terrible things he did, trying to humanize the monster that now stands before him. The Emperor bitterly responds that he was better than what the galaxy deserved, and that he ruled better as Emperor than 100 Chancellors. Jimu responds that each of those Chancellors was 1,000 times a greater person than he is. Sidious promises that the dark side will never die, to which Jimu ignites his lightsaber and promises that neither will the light. He then says, "Goodbye, Palpatine," and removes his sword, the first mention of Darth Sidious's true name in the entire sequel trilogy. Severed from the Force and unable to escape, his body crumbles and Palpatine finally, truly dies. Jim then hears the voice of Luke Skywalker. "The Force will be with you. Always." The Yuuzhan Vong, now led by the Shaper, surrendered to the New Republic on Yavin 4, and agreed to radical internal reforms while being primarily confined to Zanama Sekhet under a galactic probation. The Shaper also personally promises to find ways to undo the terraforming they had inflicted on their conquered worlds. At the ensuing Republic celebration, Jimu stands alone. Island joins him, not in her armor for the first time. He tells her that he tried to redeem Palpatine in the end, and asks her, as a non-Force user, if that was stupid or wrong of him. She says no. He hesitates, and Ben arrives, his Vong alterations removed, but leaving him permanently scarred. Adamant that his friend did the right thing, he reminds Jim how he was redeemed at the Battle of Coruscant, and how the Yuuzhan Vong themselves did the right thing in the end. The spirit of Anakin Skywalker appears as well, agreeing with the importance of allowing for redemption. To add to the happy reunion, Obi-Wan Kenobi appears, telling Ben he brings honor to the name. Jaina finally finds them, and calls to her parents upon seeing the ghosts and her brother. Han and Leia see their son in person for the first time in months, if not years, and embrace him. Leia also exchanges a smile and nod with her father. Finally, the ghost of Luke appears for the first time and reunites with his loved ones. And thus, with all the heroes, original, prequel, and sequel trilogies together, our film ends. The saga is now complete. Well, there it is. My trilogy is done. It'll be interesting to see how The Force Awakens pans out this December. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you enjoyed this video. I had a lot of fun doing these. I might actually want to take on another franchise sometime in the future. Until then, may the Force be with you.